You're from the Bay Area, San Jose, correct? And you're now in the Netherlands.
Correct.
How much do you miss screens on Windows?
So I missed them a ton until we found a window company that does them for quite a hefty fee. But we found them. We got our screens, I think, in like 80% of our windows. So I'm a happy camper these days.
Nice. I have too many windows to count, and the only one that has a screen on it is one in the bathroom, and it's about this big, and it's a real custom
Beautiful.
job. And it does nothing when you have giant windows just letting all the flies in. So I can relate to that. Um,
Yeah.
how did you end up in the Netherlands?
So I knew that I always wanted to try living in Europe, and I know that sounds like such an American thing to say because Europe is a whole continent, not, a country. But when you look at the map, Europe, I think I mean, it's smaller than the US, right? Like it's very small compared to what we're used to size-wise. And I knew I wanted to try living in a place where I can drive for a couple hours and be in a completely different country, like different language, different culture, different food, everything. So I looked up opportunities and there was something for me in the Netherlands. And yeah, I tried it out for the first time in 2018, then went back to the US, then came back to the Netherlands. And yeah, now it's been like 7 years of full-time living here.
Is there still a culture shock that you feel interacting with the Dutch, or just in general being there, that you still sort of notice even after 7 years?
I mean, 100%. And I think I'll still notice it even if I spend, another few decades here. Like, I think moving as an adult, you never really try, well, you try to feel one with the culture, but you never really fully get there. I mean, I moved to the US as a kid, and like when I went back to Russia, I always felt like I belonged, to an extent at least, same in the US. But here in the Netherlands now, I'm like, regardless of the fact that I have a Dutch passport now, I'm a citizen officially. I don't think I will ever feel Dutch. I feel like some things will always just be a major shock to me.
Yeah, I've been in France since August 24, and every time I'm walking the streets, I still feel like a tourist. I feel like I
Yep.
shouldn't be here. It's very weird. Like
Yep.
it never has normalized. As church bells are ringing in the background, that's very European as well. In terms of to get right into LinkedIn related stuff, it seems like, I don't know, because I really started like really focus on what's working and make things work for what I'm doing on LinkedIn. But it does seem like in 2026, more people are openly complaining, even if they have a huge following or have been doing well on LinkedIn, that it's a little bit harder in 2026. Do you think that's true, or it's just maybe they got lazy with their posting, or their posts just suck, or what's your take on that?
I mean, I've kind of been on and off on LinkedIn, like on and off actively since 2020. I really got proper consistently into it when I launched my own business about almost 3 years ago. But if I look at the whole LinkedIn trajectory since 2020, it's been getting harder every year. More people join the platform in a way that they actually want to post and engage as opposed to just having an account. So there's more and more competition every year. The algorithm changes multiple times a year. People grow complacent with time. And I think factoring all of that in, since you've been there since, because how long have you been active on LinkedIn? Like active, active?
Oh, only recently, really.
Exactly.
I've had LinkedIn for, I think, since it started, but I never really
hmm
used it. I was one of those, only used it when I needed a job.
hmm
So maybe it, in and out for the last 2 years, but like full
Okay.
on focused in the last 6 months.
So I think what you're noticing is just your first wave of big changes on the platform and people reacting the way they do. But I think that's very cyclical. I think I've seen like the major shifts happen 4 or 5 times at least, and the more minor kind of waves of complaints, even more than that. Again, multiple times per year. So I don't notice anything new in that sense. I'm like, tale as old as time.
Is there anything that you've heard, either, a LinkedIn guru, or something you've sort of validated in internally on your end, that has consistently been working in 2026? Is it commenting? Is it a certain type of post, or any insight into that?
I'd say that I am more disproving what the gurus are saying as opposed to finding specifically one thing that does constantly work. And what I mean by that is a lot of them will say, oh, you don't want to post more than one time per day or it cannibalizes reach. Big disagree. I've tried posting once, I've tried posting 4 times. My posts perform exactly the same. If I'm averaging 2K impressions on a post, if I post 4 times, I'm going to get 8K impressions that day, give or take. So that's something that I'm like, yeah, if you have the time, the energy, the bandwidth, and the ideas, keep posting. Just keep doing it. I'll never encourage it for people who feel like they're burning out from LinkedIn. But I have some LinkedIn friends who are like, yeah, I have like 8 ideas a day, but they're saying post once a day. I'm like, why? Post multiple times. Like you're gonna get the reach. Just do it. And another thing I constantly hear is you have to warm up the algorithm before you post. So go comment on other people's posts for a while. And that's the only way that he'll get traction. I've been disproving that by just posting when the mood strikes and seeing what happens. And if I warm up the algorithm, I get just about the same reach as if I don't. Now, I am biased with the fact that I have more followers maybe than some people, but I also have a lot less than some of the people who are really preaching these things. So off the top of my head, that's what comes to mind. And oh, also one good one is people are saying that if you schedule your posts, it doesn't impact your reach. I disagree. I've seen for myself and my clients that if you schedule posts, even with LinkedIn's like built-in scheduler, it just crushes your reach, and I have no clue why. But yeah, so a lot of gurus will say, yeah, you can schedule, it doesn't impact it at all as long as you keep commenting like before and after. I don't know, there's no like hard evidence on it, but that's my personal experience.
Wow, that was a lot. There's a lot to
Yeah,
take in.
and those
That's
were just like 3 things that I decided to focus on.
that was great. I totally agree with it's so I probably followed 10, I've clicked the ring the bell so I get notified whenever one of these people posts, and they're big, they've got 300,000 plus following, huge accounts. And I noticed that a majority of them are scheduling their posts for 1 p.m. our time. And I was thinking, man, you just got to think the feed is flooded if they're doing that, and how many people they're teaching doing that. That at 1 o'clock is probably like the hardest time to get anyone to view your property in a way if you're thinking of it like real estate. So I totally agree with that. In terms of, so true or false, more followers means more clients.
God, no. False, false, false.
Okay. And true or false, you need to be a good writer to have success on LinkedIn.
Is there like a secret third option?
What's your third option?
I think that being a great writer, a good writer even really helps if you're focusing especially on the longer form content. But again, it depends on your area of expertise. It depends on, who you're trying to reach. I see a lot of posts for myself as well. I see a lot of posts that barely have any writing in them, and they'll be more humorous, or they'll just be an image or a video. Some people prefer speaking over writing that perform really well from a lead perspective. I'm not even talking about likes because those don't pay the bills. I'm like, you don't need to be a writing pro to figure out what works for your audience. It does help. A lot of the time it does help, and a lot of audiences do resonate with writing, right? But at the same time, if you're like, oh my God, I can't write well to save my life. Like I hated English class. I hate trying to write and the way I speak. I don't think that means you'll never get leads from LinkedIn. I just think you have to see what resonates with your audience because that might not be long form, medium form writing.
I think if you're not great at writing, you need to be good at organizing your life events and being able to break those down and sort of all of the things that make you unique, and then learn how to write it in terms of LinkedIn, because it's completely different the type of way that you learned how to write anywhere else. And it can be sort of, like at a fifth grade level, but long as it's
Hmm.
interesting and authentic to you, it will land. And I don't think anyone's looking for like, oh, you missed this. There's grammatical errors, or this is off. It's just like, do they resonate with it or not? So I think definitely, if you've lived like a full life and you have lots of stories to tell, I think maybe at the moment, especially I've talked to a couple ghostwriters who just really just talk about their life and their travels and what makes them unique. And that's and I wouldn't say their writing's any better than anyone else's. It's just they're really good at making you feel something. And so if you practice that, I think that might be part of the key to having some of your posts not be flops. Um, in terms of since you've been on the platform way longer and doing this obviously successful for a long time, what's something that for sure doesn't work anymore? Is it video? Well, I think everyone agrees video kind of is hard to get hit, but is there something else that comes to mind?
Yeah, polls. I remember back in the day, people were posting polls left and right, and they were awful polls. Like, do you want coffee or breakfast? Or coffee or breakfast, coffee or tea this morning? Maybe coffee or breakfast. And they'd get like, I don't know, 300 likes, 4K votes, and you were looking at it like, why? Why does this happen? And now I don't even know the last time I saw a poll. And I never really engaged with them. So it's not like, oh, well, you stopped engaging with them. I just never see them. So I think if you're trying to rely on polls to increase your engagement or your leads or honestly your visibility, like stop. It's time to stop and move on.
Um, and in terms of if you randomly stumble across someone's post, never interacted with them before, you land on their profile. What's when you're looking at that for 3, 5, 10 seconds, how are you evaluating if that's a good or bad profile and from all your background and from doing this for so long? What to you is like the first indicators like, oh, this is someone I want to dig deeper on their page, or it's like, oh, this is amateur hour.
Profile picture, profile banner, and headline. Immediately, that's where my mind goes. And if those spark joy, then I'll scroll down to the about. But if those don't pass the test, kind of the test that I've created in my head, then no, ignore and move on.
Um, in the long game of succeeding on LinkedIn with all the changes, and it's kind of like you find out the algorithm is preferring something maybe like 3 months too late sometimes, and like something was working and you keep with that and then it sort of slowly turn into flops over time. Is there something in terms of the long game that you've been doing to continuously have success? Is it you stick to sort of your three, commenting, making sure your profile is constantly optimized and sticking to, the way you're posting? Or is there like a fourth element in terms of like always trying to find like that next thing? Cause I do feel like sometimes there's trends that you can hop on and get engagement that way. Do you dabble in that world, or do you sort of just put that to the side and just stick to like what's your strategy on LinkedIn and stay in that lane?
I think it's super easy to burn out if you just constantly chase trends because then you're always thinking, well, what's going to be the next thing? Am I behind? Like, oh, shoot, the trend I was on isn't working anymore. What do I do? So I think it comes down to humans. The most important thing for me on LinkedIn is that my posts are reaching at least a handful of people who actually are interested in what I have to say and who want to talk to me, and that I'm commenting on the posts of people who I want to talk to. And I think if you consistently keep doing that, then it doesn't matter what the algorithm does. None of it matters. You've built those relationships, and no matter where LinkedIn goes, you're going to have those relationships. I mean, I'm still in very close contact with people who used to be really active and now they've kind of disappeared, but we still support each other. And if at any point I'm like, man, like LinkedIn is not going well, they're like, okay, tell me, how can I help you? Like, what can I do? I'll even log on just to support you. Like, let me know, which I really appreciate. So I think, as in life, on LinkedIn, people are the most important thing.
Um, for someone who maybe be in a more desperate of times looking for a job in the immediate and thinks they have their LinkedIn optimized, you know, I don't know. I picture this person being someone that's like, I have my old past experiences. I have that updated. It's optimized in terms of what I did, and it's basically in their head. It's a version of their resume. I have a pretty photo, and I have the open to work banner. What what should they actually do if they, should they sort of do deep dives and follow people like you to learn more of what an actual profile should look like, or what would you help them to get seen. And I'm not talking about applying to more jobs. I'm talking about trying to get that more inbound, even if you're just trying to find a job and not promote a service.
So this is super controversial and everyone will have their own opinion, but I've heard time and time again, get rid of the open to work banner. I don't think like if I saw someone with an open to work banner, I would never want to discriminate because I'm like, okay, they're clearly, searching. I want to help them. But I have heard so many times that subconsciously that just has a negative effect. And people see that and they're like, okay, no, moving on to the next candidate. So I would say even if you disagree with it, if your goal is to get a job, get rid of the banner and focus more on the value you offer. Because then people see you, unfortunately, they see you as more of a person without that banner as opposed to when you have it there. And again, you might hear me say this and be like, wow, Marine, you're so mean, you're so awful. But I'm just telling you what I've heard and what I've witnessed over the years on LinkedIn. That's the first thing. Second of all, get a free Canva account, go on Canva, look up LinkedIn banner templates, and make a LinkedIn banner for yourself with whatever colors resonate with your personal brand. Don't just use the template colors. Don't keep it generic and have one sentence about who you help slash what you do. Just one sentence that kind of conveys where you are in your business and your work journey, not necessarily business. Clean profile picture, obviously. An about section that's written in first person. So I help blank with blank, not Michael Phelps helps, blah, 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 never in third person. You really want your account to seem personal. It's more than a resume, it's your story more than anything else. And of course, get active. I'd say that the best time to build your network on LinkedIn is before you get into that situation where you need a job.
Definitely. Definitely build, even when you have a job.
Hmm.
Um, so say someone's, finally taking it serious. It's been 6 months. They've optimized as much as they think they can. They're posting consistently. What what do they track and not get confused with vanity metrics like their follower count went up and things like that? What should they be looking at in terms of their progress from 0 to whatever they're at now in terms of their LinkedIn, and how do they sort of adapt based on that data now to even get to, like, another level on LinkedIn, if that makes more sense, either in terms of finding more job opportunities or finding a way to sell their services better?
I'd say the best thing to track is the valuable conversations they're having. So really think about not just the DMs, but in the comments. Like some of my best LinkedIn friends, I don't even know if we've DM'd, but we're always back and forth in the comments, and I feel like I know them so well. So again, it all comes down to the human element of it. Think about the conversations you're having. Are you getting value? Are you giving value? Don't just focus on getting. Think of, think of what you can do for people. And I think that'll always be more important than chasing those vanity metrics. And if you're thinking, okay, I've had one valuable conversation in 6 months. Why? Are you not commenting enough? Are you not looking up interesting enough profiles that you want to engage with these people? Are you not sharing valuable enough insights that they don't want to engage with you? You know what I mean? So I'd say that's ultimately what it always circles back to. Circle back sounds so gross and corporate, but it's so fitting here.
I've I've tried to step back from caring about follower count because I've done that with so many social media platforms with Instagram and TikTok.
Hmm.
And I've hit big numbers on TikTok. I had millions of views and all those things. And you always think once you reach them, it's gonna be like something's gonna unlock or you're gonna start to feel amazing now. And it's really like it just starts all over again. So there would be a great if someone could create this where you can block all of those vanity metrics and like only see them once a month or something. I
Hmm.
think it might be really great, especially like follower count, because really it doesn't matter, especially if you're just starting out. I have been trying to just focus on if I go like 4 or 5 days without someone trying to sell me something or sending me something like positive in my DMs, then something's off. 'Cause to me, like, that extra step is showing that, oh, like, your content's resonating with people or you're
Hmm.
doing your own outreach and it's working. So that's I'm just sharing that if anyone's out there, like, feeling like they're completely lost with all their metrics, maybe that will help.
I get
Um,
it.
in terms of hiring a ghostwriter, what is a realistic timeline to see results? Like, see inbound come from that writing that's going out through your ghostwriter?
I think it really depends because I've worked with clients who say, I just want one ghostwritten post a week. And I tell them straight up, I'm like, that's not a ton. If that's what you can afford, if that's what you think you want to do, sure. But you're looking at a way longer timeline than somebody who's open to posting 3 to 5 times a week consistently, commenting every day, responding to comments every day, and really nurturing those relationships. So I'd say if you're focusing on the 3 to 5 times a week and nurturing relationships through comments and DMs, and I really mean nurturing, none of what I say is like a euphemism for pitch slapping or spamming people. I really want to put that out there before people get ideas. So I'd say if they're doing that within a quarter, otherwise it can really be 6 to 9 to 12 months because again, there's a lot of competition out there. And if you don't have the bandwidth and you don't have the resources to hire someone to support you more time and with more content, it's really going to take a while.
Do you use well, you might not wanna answer this because I fear LinkedIn's listening, but, do you use anything to help you with anything in terms of using LinkedIn third party wise? Because I know people are split on this, and there's a lot of people out there who've had success, and they use AI to do their, like, DM responding and things like that, and I've used a couple of those, and they say, like, "Oh, you won't get in trouble," but then LinkedIn is very, very clear that if they catch you using anything that's not approved by them, which is nothing, from my
hmm
understanding, they'll basically shut you down. It it's not worth the risk, right?
100% not. I recently received something from a person who was building a third party platform, and I didn't quite understand what it was. It just seemed like a nice way for me to make money by partnering with brands who need support. And then I did some digging and I reached out to him directly and I was like, hey man, this sounds like something that goes really against LinkedIn policy. Am I reading it right? And he was like, yeah, but we're not going to publicize it. You won't get caught. And I was like, nope, have a blast, have fun without me, but it's just not worth it. So I've never done it. That was the one time I almost got into it, but I realized before I did, and I never would.
Yeah, we worked with a company, an AI company out of, India that's backed by well, they say, who knows if it's truthful, but backed by Salesforce, and I asked them bluntly in a
hmm
call, "Do is this gonna get us in, possible trouble with our accounts?" "Oh, no, there's no way for it to know," and I was like, "That's just
Makes
there's
sense.
no way for you to say that, like, there's no
No,
like, you don't know what LinkedIn is capable of doing on their end, and to say that, like, you've, like, like, you can go over their systems is crazy to me because the system is based on anyways, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that will make a lot of money off you if you allow it, and you might be risking your account, which is definitely worth way more than just do your own DMs.
yeah. 100% agreed with that. 100% I would never recommend anyone risk it, whether they have 100 or 100,000 followers.
Um, so here's some quick fire that we're gonna end with. 3 questions for you. The biggest waste of time on LinkedIn is
Trying to automate things that you shouldn't be doing in the first place.
perfect. Most B2B companies treat LinkedIn like a
Boring, sad job board.
perfect. The real reason people aren't getting leads from LinkedIn is
They're treating LinkedIn like a boring, sad job board.
perfect. If anyone's interested in finding out more about all the things that you offer, your services, working with you, should they reach out to your LinkedIn or should they go to your website?
Whatever they prefer, they can DM me on LinkedIn. They can fill out the contact form at retoldmarketing.com. I respond to both.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. You dropped a lot of knowledge bombs there on LinkedIn. I really appreciate your time, and I will see you next time.
Thank you.